guys, welcome to Shadow Skull Studios. It's Wolf. We're back with another Friday deck list. This one I kind of went a little different. So I hope y'all enjoy, and I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving last week. I hope everybody was safe, took care of stuff. And I'm going to be back with a different schedule where I'm only going to be uploading on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. It's 5 days out of the week. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to try streaming on YouTube. I think I'm going to try streaming on Saturdays as well. I just might make Saturdays like my short days, so I'll upload a short and stream. We'll see how that goes. So hopefully, guys, you will support the channel, like, subscribe for more stuff in the future, and comment down below, get some interaction for the algorithm, how you would like to build this deck. This is not one of my more perfect decks. I'm kind of goofing around with it. So I'm probably going to do like an improvement video later on. So stay tuned for that if you enjoy it. And let's get into it. This episode is Kellan the Kid, Flying Lifelink. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may cast a permanent spell with equal or less mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield instead. So we want to cast everything not from our hand. And we oops things from our hand. So this one's kind of a weird one. It was a fun challenge to try and come up with this deck list. It's not great, but something. For Planeswalkers, we have Jace Reawakened. Draw a card, discard a card. +1 exile card with mana value 3 or less from our hand. If you do, it becomes plotted, which we can play it later for free. And then -6 until in turn, when you cast a spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. That can be done in many ways or just shenanigans. We have Narset, Parter of Veils to stop our opponents from drawing. And the -2 will help us dig, hopefully. Oko, Thief of Crowns, mostly it's the +1 to turn our opponent's stuff into 3/3 Elks. Going down to creatures, we have Battle Mammoth. Whenever a opponent you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, draw a card. Beanstalk Worm. It has the adventure ability. So we play the adventure first, which is we may pay an additional land this turn. We can exile this, and we get to cast this later as a creature. Birds of Paradise for mana. Bramble Familiar. Again with the adventure. Mill 7 cards. Put a creature, enchantment, or land card from the mill cards onto the battlefield. But this one will also let us bounce it back. Cosmos Charger will let us foretell our things cheaper and at flash speed. Crystal Dragon is graveyard recursion somewhat to our hands, and it's a dragon later on. Deep Sea Kraken can get oopsed out. And it's an unblockable 6/6. Displacer Kitten will let us flicker some of our creatures with ETBs, or to remove them from being targeted. Doc Orok will cheapen our plotted abilities. Dread Linworm will put 1/1 counters on something, untap it, give it hexproof, and it also can't be blocked by creatures power 3 or less. Dust Animus can be oopsed out at a later date with lifelink. Emerald Dragon counters non-creature sources of abilities. Apocryphate in his battlefield with 3 or more counters on it, so it could be a free 4/4, and when it dies, it gets exiled. We have Eternal Witness for Graveyard Recursion. Ethereal Valkyrie, which will let us foretell stuff that doesn't have foretell. Furbarrel Elder for a Mana Dork. Flip will let us plot things from the top of our deck. Glorious Protector. We may exile any number of non-angel creatures we control until it leaves the battlefield. So if we want to like save our board from a board wipe. Gorian Wise Mentor. We're going to copy our adventure. Green Slime. This one will let us counter activated ability or triggered abilities from artifact or enchantments. Guardian Naga is removal for enchantments or artifacts. Hypnotic Sprite is a counterspell. Karametra got a harvest. When we cast creature spells, we get to go ramp. Carful Harbinger is a mana dork for Foretell or in sorceries. Railway Brawler will make our creatures come in with extra counters. Renar the Ever Watchful lets us get 1 free Foretell and will make us dudes. Shalai Voice of Plenty will give our stuff hexproof. Sigarda Font of Blessings will give everything else hexproof. Slickshot Lockpicker will give something in Sorcerer or Graveyard flashback. Sphinx of Forgotten Lore will give in Sorcerers on Graveyard flashback. Star Whale will give our other creatures Ward 2. Sun Titan for Graveyard Recursion. Foretold Soldier will cast itself from exile. Candle Keep Researcher will let us use mana to cast things, to foretell things from our hands, plot it, or to cast the foretold stuff later on. Visage Bandit will enter as a clone of something. For sorceries, we have Alrun's Epiphany, which we could foretell. Make 2 birds, take an extra turn. Farewell will be a board wipe, so that if we got rid of all our creatures, we could at least cast our creatures with adventure later on as creatures. Inspiring Refrain, it's a draw spell that keeps coming back. Lock and Load will get us more draw. Make Your Own Luck will let us plot something. Raven Form for removal. Reality Strobe for a bounce spell that keeps coming back. Rise of the Varmints will make us a bunch of creatures that we can attack with later on. Venture Forth will ramp us. We Behold the Multiverse, which is draw and scry. Cosmic Intervention to keep our stuff from dying and bring it back. Dawn's Truce for protection. Mystic Reflection. So our opponent wants to make copies of like a really dangerous creature. We can make it like choose one of our 2/1 varmints, and basically all our opponent's creatures come in as 2/1 varmints. Saw It Coming is a counterspell. For artifacts, we have Arcane Signet, Blackblade Reforged. Cosmo Chaos Wand will let us cast our opponent's instant sorceries from exile, which will feed Kellan. Commander Sphere for Mana Rock. Conqueror's Flail to stop our opponent from interacting on our turn. Riversong Zari, again, cast something from exile. We have a Soul Ring for Mana Rock, and the Great Hinge, which is card draw, gain life, Mana Rock. Aura Shards for removal. Cathar's Crusade to make all our creatures get more counters. Ghostly Prison to kind of like pillow fort against our opponents. Hardened Scales to put more counters on our stuff. Kellan Joins Up. It plots something, and then whenever legendary creatures we have enter the battlefield, put 1 counter on each creature we control. Nico's Destiny will give us life gain, Mana Rock to cast our Foretold stuff, and we'll return something with Foretell back. To go into our lands, I went kind of simple. Alchemist Refuge, so we can foretell stuff at instant speed. Ancient Ziggurat to cast our creature spells. Back Channel Pathway as a modal land. Our opponent, our bound land, is a Promenade. Breeding Pool for Shock, Command Tower. Deserted Beach. Dreamroot Cascade, Exotic Orchard. Flooded Grove, Sixth Forest. A Hollowed Fountain for Shock. Hinterland Harbor, Hushwood Verge. Island. Misty Rainforest for Fetch Land. 5 Plains. In the Sparrow's Headquarters as a Triumph. And of course, we are going to go ahead and playtest the deck. Going in, it's not a bad hand. We will draw. We're immediately going to do a Forest into Birds of Paradise. Next turn, Island, cast Commander. Next turn, Deserted Beach. What do we want to do here? We'll go ahead and plot. Next turn, we'll hold up the Adventure spell, play this, tap, Hardened Scales, and I don't think we're going to plot this. right now. Because we can cast this... No, it's a sorcerer suite, so we have to play it as a sorcery. What we could do is some other shenanigans later on. Next turn. Ooh, that's nice. We'll do that. Tap, tap. Plot, or we suspend Star Whale. Set counters at 6. Next turn, we remove a counter. I'd say for this one, we'll go ahead. It's not that great because we're kind of holding back. But what we could do easily is we'd cast Hypnotic Spear, Hypnotic Glare, Mesmeric Glare to counter something. Cast it later on, get one of our things, and then we cast that maybe. Let's go ahead and restart. Also, not a bad hand again. We draw for turn 1. Immediately, what I'm going to do, though, is Misty Rainforest, crack it. We need white. View library. We're going to grab Hollow... No. Let's go grab Sparrow's Headquarters. Putting it in play tapped. Next turn, we'll do an island. No, we'll do forest, bird, hold mana up. Next turn, island, aura shards, tap, hardened scales. Next turn, cast Kellan. Next turn, island. We have a counter spell. Then we could also just do Shalai if we wanted to. Shalai. Boom. Gives our other stuff hexproof. Kill something. Next turn. Ooh. We cast Chaos Wand. For sure we cast Chaos Wand. So yeah. Basically this deck's not like... It's more control. And we're holding back because we have to kind of choose what we want to oops out. Because Chaos Wand, depending on what we get, we oops out Bramble. Or if we got a big instant sorcery, then we can get our creatures back. Let's go ahead and restart again. But this deck is more like you need to play it. Okay, let me see. We'll draw for turn 1. We'll play that. Next turn, island. Next turn, play forest. What do you do? We'll do Kellan joins up, exiling or plotting Nico. Next turn, island, cast Kellan. He gets a counter because of Kellan joins up. And on next turn, we'll suspend this, I guess. Next turn, planes. Suspend for 3. Spend counters for 3. We'll plot. Adding counter, gaining 2 life. We get to put something 2 or less. A permanent or a land if we put land out. Boop. We have a 4 mana, so that's still 5 mana for a Great Hinge. Our next turn, though, we get to do... No, that one won't work. Alright, next turn, remove a counter. Add counter. We get 2 mana. They cast spells. 2 foretell or do something like that. So we're just going to do this. Tap the 5 mana to do Great Hinge. Tap to do Giada, which adds counter on each creature we control. Next turn, this goes to grave. Looky here. We did not get flipped or anything to help us out on this one. We'll do that. That gets removed to 1. Then we get to bounce something, which is okay. We'll just cast this for free, I guess, on our next turn. Next turn, upkeep, cast this. Oops, this guy out. But counter each of our creatures. We'll do it one more time. Let's test it out one more time. Sure, we'll draw. Sparrow's headquarters. Next turn, island. Cast plant beans. Play an additional land. Next turn, Alchemist's Refuge. Cast Kellan. Next turn, we need one more mana to cast that, so it's not bad. We'll cast Cosmos Charger, I guess. We don't have anything to echo. It is a 3/3 at flash, but I'd rather do Shalai. We'll do Shalai. Next turn, we're just not getting the lands. Tap. Flip. Ward 2, we can look at the top card of our library. It's a land. Has plot equal to its mana cost. Right now is nothing. Next turn, play Hinterland Harbor. It's on top of our deck. Command Tower is a meh. But we're going to go ahead and cast Beanstalk Worm. When we cast Beanstalk Worm, we get to oops out something that has 4 or less. A permanent, most likely. We'll do the Sphinx. In case our worm gets killed. So that's not bad. Then next turn, Man Tower. We want to plot that. Plotting it's not going to help us. So we'll go ahead and do Gorian and Apocryphite. Next turn, what's on top of our deck? We could plot it, but it will not help us because we also have this. But yeah, so this deck is literally trying to be opportunistic. I think it needs more card draw, but I have card draw in it, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, guys, here's a fun casual deck that will let you oop stuff. Maybe I needs more mana rocks, and more card draw. But I have card draw in here, so I don't know. Yeah, there's like no card draw on that one at all. But yeah, guys, I'll see y'all later. I hope y'all enjoy everything. Bye-bye.